Well, good afternoon, Northeast Georgia. This is Mitchell Swan sitting in for Marc at the Marc McMain Show, and you are listening to WMOQ Real Country, and I have got the First Lady of WMOQ with us today, the beautiful, kind, always gracious Liliana McMain. How are you, Liliana?
Oh my goodness, what an opening. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I totally wasn't going to come in and fill in for anyone. They said Liliana will be there. I said, I'm on my way.
Kind of like last minute, but I'm here and I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to have you. Now, you kind of picked the theme today. So I jumped into this late in the morning, but
Yep.
you want to talk about honesty, faithfulness, and living out your word.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we say word, what are we talking about?
So just, being truthful to yourself. I wanted to talk about that. Truth lies in the stories we tell ourselves.
Yeah.
Every day, this is a subject that everybody can relate to. We face it every day of our lives. And this is not a lecture, and it's not coming from somebody that has experience, and I hope you guys don't have experience on it, meaning lies, right? But it's just like a subject that I think I like to touch and go through because it changes people, it changes lives, and it can affect everyone. And, I think it's something that we need to practice daily on to just being truthful to ourselves.
Oh, we're going to do that.
Yep.
So there's two ways that when you say living by your word. So I process it different. When I say, hey, I give you my word, we are going to Disneyland, kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bond. I should always speak truth, right?
True, yeah.
And I can't back out of it. But we're also talking about the word of God. Are we not?
100%.
Okay, so we're going to bring those in together. That's our theme, man. It's going to be about honesty, saying true to your word when you give it, and the word of Scripture. Now, you've got a couple topics we want to talk about, but do you mind if I just introduce a man that I would like to talk about also
Sure,
as we
absolutely.
slip into our,
Go
our
for
Savior
it.
Jesus Christ? And by
Let's
the
do
way,
it.
yeah, I just want to remind everyone, on this station, this is where faith meets life, right? So that's also going to be our theme today. Now, some of the listeners that have heard me on the air and some of my friends are familiar with Samuel P. Huntington. And people are like, who the hell is that dude? He's dead, but he lived from 1927 to 2008, and he died on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. And he's pretty well known. But before I tell you his thoughts on our topic today, I'm going to tell you his history. He was the National Security Advisor for President Jimmy Carter when he was in tenure. He is a graduate of Yale University. He got a master's at the University of Chicago, and he got a PhD at Harvard for international affairs. The guy was a brilliant guy, and he was a hero and bedrock to the Democrat Party. Lifelong Democrat, yeah. But then he wrote a book in 1993, and he became a pariah. They didn't like him at all because he spoke truth. Now, what was the name of this book? It was called Clash of Civilizations, and he wrote it in 1993. And he talked about the 9 major civilizations in the world, and when their borders touch, there's friction, and there's going to be disagreements. But you don't give in to that in the sense of, well, I'll just embrace your multiculturalism so that we can all get along.
Yep.
But what I wanted to focus on is he talks about the United States, its important values, and he really defends Christianity, and he really rejects the erosion of our faith in our culture, and he warns us that the rise of multicultural ideology will destroy any nation. You can't just water down the history of your roots. So he would make the argument too that we want to prevent, protect, and renew those unique qualities that we find in our Christian civilization. So here are 5 things that he identified in 1993 after all this wisdom he's accumulated in dealing with the world and advising Jimmy Carter. He said, you'll know that a nation is in decay when its culture experiences a rise in antisocial behavior. So that's what you think. It's increasing crime rates, it's drug use, general lawlessness. It's having Antifa people in the middle of Chicago smashing and dashing stores. And they're like, hey, leave them alone. They're just protesting. I thought this is COVID. Oh, but it's different if you're, protesting.
Absolutely.
You can steal and,
No rules for you.
No rules for you.
Yeah.
Then the other one is family decay. And now we all think of family decay as, rising divorce rates, an increase in unwedded births, single moms, single homes, single parent homes, general breakdown of parental authority. You know, the kids are like, hey, you're not the boss of me. Well, you're right, dear. I'm just trying to, understand you better, and what can I do to help you live your truth?
Right.
all that stuff. But I would add to that too, is that this rise in OnlyFans and pornography and human trafficking, all that stuff is that we even allow it or are consumers of it, kind of goes against the core value of men and how we observe women and their precious role in our culture. The other one is a decline in social capital. And people are like, well, what is that fancy word? And what that's really saying is that when people stop participating in their community with nonprofit groups, charities, being involved. I mean, in the old days, you didn't just need the Boy Scouts to go out and adopt a highway to pick up litter. We all did it as churches, as Rotary, or whatever. Then this one hits home hard. He warns of a weakening of a work ethic. When people don't want to work, they start to prefer pursuing pleasures than labor. They want immediate gratification, and then they feel entitled.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing that, I've read, with Generation Z. Like, they're really angry at the boomers. Like, you guys took all the wealth and money of this country, and we've got nothing. And I'm
Blame
like,
it.
we're passing that down to you too, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, but you want us to give it to the government before we do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then the last one is a decrease in intellectual activity. When people don't want to read books anymore or pursue history or study subjects just for what you'll learn from it. And historically, we look at our nation back from, even 79 to 83, we were still number one in the world for public education. And now we're 27th in the world for math, reading, and science. And 40% of our population reads at a fourth grade level. So that all troubles me. And as I led into this, he said, if we want to get back to the nation that we used to be, and again, this is in 1993, we have to fiercely preserve, protect, and renew our unique qualities as a Christian civilization. That's kind of where we'll get to. So
I love it. I love
want
it.
to get your
Without the Lord in
Yes.
our lives.
And I am super excited for today's show. Anytime we can talk about faith and real life, I'm all in. So, Liliana, what is some of the most kind of common small lies that maybe you can
relate to? Well, let
Yes.
me tell you, I kind of wanted to talk about a show that I've been watching on Netflix. Have you watched The $1 Million Secret?
No.
Okay.
No.
I
Yes.
love it. So I love that kind of shows that I can observe the personalities of the different people. I like to observe that and, make myself, I don't know, like assume somebody's lying or not because of their features and their faces and what they say. So anyway, this show is about a group of people that are in a house. One of them secretly gets $1 million and they are supposed to fake it that they don't have it. Nobody wants to say they have it and everybody else needs to find out who has it. So throughout this show you can see that these are ordinary people, right? That go to the show because they want to win the $1 million. And whoever lies the best, I guess, ends up having $1 million. And it's interesting to watch how slowly they start justifying their behavior, because of obviously, first reason is the $1 million, the pressure, the fear of the other people that are on the show, the competition, their alliances that they have on the show. Is so interesting. This is the second season, and I'm loving it.
Really? So to win the $1 million, you have to lie the whole show?
Yes, and these are regular.
That would be tough.
Yes, it would be so tough, and you can
So
really
hard.
see that it's regular people going to the show, and they're like, "Wow, I mean, this is too much. This is like,
Yes,
I
that
can't
would
do
be
this."
overwhelming. That would
That
be
would be
tiring.
overwhelming.
Yes.
So now they're making up stories. They're probably uncomfortable in the beginning,
I'm
but
not-
then it starts to
From the
become
beginning.
easier and easier
Yeah.
because they think they're going to get the $1 million.
Absolutely.
Then they start probably telling lies about each
They
other.
get
Like,
comfortable. Yeah,
Yep.
they start.
I'm telling
it's
you,
hard.
Liliana's got that $1 million.
Yeah. So yeah, it starts easy. So it starts with a lie of, I'm late 5 minutes, but I'm really late 10 minutes, or I'm late
Yes.
for, I mean, I don't know,
Yes.
whatever, regular little lies, right?
Well, I think that is a common theme just in our society, and I'm gonna pick on politicians. You know, you almost have to be a sociopath to want to be in the federal government, right? And they'll tell you everything you want to hear. In fact, that was coined, and this is a quote from Napoleon. He once said, "To have true world power, promise the people everything and deliver nothing."
Nothing.
You know, if you come through on your promise, they don't need you anymore,
Yeah.
right? We're always going to solve the border issue. Oh, we're so close to curing cancer. Oh, we
Yeah.
just might be able to, you know, pay off our debt if you, whatever it might be, and it goes on and on and on, you know.
Yeah. And then what are the repercussions of that? I mean, it can be something like, hey, nothing happens. I'm 5 minutes late. I was 10 minutes after I arrived, but nothing happened. But what about if you say a bigger lie? And I found some stories, real life stories that we all have seen that are really popular, like the Lance Armstrong story. You can help me with the last name.
Lance Armstrong,
Lance Armstrong.
famous
Okay.
cyclist.
You said it
Yes.
beautifully. That was perfect.
So about that he was doing drugs, and he denied it and denied it. And then everybody that was accusing him, actually, well, a lot of journalists and different people were accusing him, and they actually lost their jobs. I mean, everybody was believing on the guy. And
Sure.
And it ended up that he was actually a liar, right? And the liar became way bigger than his cheating. I mean, he probably could have gotten away with it if he came clear, stopped doing the drugs, and then continue his career. But at the
I
end, he
remember
lost
that.
it all.
Mhm.
Well, I find too, a couple things here are
That's a good
disturbing
point.
me. One is watching a show where you're rooting for your favorite liar. You know, all of a sudden, lying has become entertainment and not
It's true.
feel-good true stories. And I feel also, as you mentioned, Lance, I think of all the disinformation now that is AI generated on YouTube and Facebook and all these social media posts, because it gets you with a catchy title, and then it just spins a yarn, truth or not true, because all they want are eyeballs to watch it, because that's how you monetize something.
True.
And so we invite a great deal of lies and deceit into our life every single day. And yeah, I'm talking about UFOs also. I stand firmly opposed that they're what we think they are. But
Right. And I find the show entertaining. I don't think that it made me be a liar at all.
No.
But I like it because, again, the psychological aspect.
studying
and I
human nature,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Yes.
I absolutely love that. And again, seeing how somebody that seems so sweet can be like completely a pathological liar, right? So that to me is fascinating. So
Well, I've been to some very poor countries, you know, Honduras, for instance, and Vietnam and Thailand and the Philippines. And, you know, petty theft is almost part of the culture because, and I'm going to be honest, if my kids were starving and I had to feed them today, yeah, I'd probably lift a bag of bread out of the market if no one was watching. I mean, you're going to do things you wouldn't do under normal conditions.
okay, well,
And so when it comes to lying, well, what if I'm a salesman somewhere? I'm going to promise you that my product will change the world for you, and you've got to buy it, and, you know, you're on QVC, and, you
Yeah.
know, this thing will, you know, vacuum up rocks if you buy it.
Right.
And then you buy it, and wow, none of the things they told me were true, but they got the sale. And
That's
I
right.
find sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that happens a lot. What do you think that is that, you know, a lie that maybe you have seen in your lives, a real story of a lie that has destroyed some people? Have you had any situation like that?
First thing that came to mind were vaccines, but I don't want to say anything against those things out there on the air.
Okay.
So I'll have to think of something else because we're just having a conversation.
That's a whole
But,
nother.
You know, sometimes we're told things, and I'm just I'll pick on almost any war that started. You know, I'll talk about the Spanish-American War. So the USS Maine blew up in the harbor of Cuba, and we're like, yep, they bombed it. You know what? It was a coal fire. It was just from the dust. It was an accident on the ship, not intentionally, unintentionally caused by the sailors there. But we used it as a big lie to start a war.
Imagine that. Yeah.
Well, we got the islands of the Philippines out of it, though, so that's cool.
That's great.
We gave them back, but we had them.
But
They
I
were in
mean, don't
territory.
you see that that's happening more and more? Like you said, the first thing that comes out on the news about somebody, then everybody assumes that's the truth.
Yes.
Wait, listen, I'm going to go right there too then. This is no joking. That Charlie Kirk death, that was weird. I do not
very
accept that was a
strange.
30-06 round through his neck. I just don't.
So you
And-
have a lot of experience on this.
Yeah.
Well, but there's things and you're like, well, what's going to happen to me if I don't swallow the narrative being fed to me by reputable news stations 24/7?
Yep.
You know, and I've got agencies in the federal government backing this story up and then telling me to move on.
Yep.
Now, there is a wonderful book called Live Not by Lies. And it takes place, my gosh, it was in a Eastern Bloc nation. It wasn't Ukraine, but it was close to Ukraine, might have been Slovakia. But when they got overtaken by the Russians, this was a country of faith. And they were compelled to say Christ, is not real. Like, we are atheists, there is no God. And what they did is that I can't renounce God, but I'm not going to repeat your lie. So I'm just going to remain quiet and keep my truth internal.
Oh, okay.
And it's very powerful.
Amen to that. And today's theme is simple but powerful, being a person of honesty, integrity, and keeping your word, even when it's hard. We'll be right back.
I chuckled at a cartoon that showed a news conference by a United States senator who announced that he was divorcing his family so he could spend more time with politics. We may laugh, but the truth is many people make that statement every day. Maybe not with words, but with their actions. In fact, if a politician retires from his work to spend more time with his family, it becomes the lead story, met with cynicism on the evening news, while the one who rejects his family advancing his career is commonplace. God tells us we should work hard to the glory of God, but He has clearly shown that we must have priorities. A relationship with God first, and family follows that. What does your focus tell you about your priorities? The Bible says that we have brought nothing into this world and we can take nothing out of it. It's good to focus on the things that last, like putting God first, and then family, and then people all around us that God loves. This is Bryant Wright, speaking right from my heart.
Visit rightfromtheheart.org and click television to watch our TV spots.
Hey, this is attorney Bart Benton with Benton & Benton. I live and work right here in Monroe, Georgia, and I am proud to serve this area. If you've been hurt in a car accident, you don't need some out-of-town lawyer that treats you like a number. You deserve a local lawyer you can trust, someone who lives here, works here, and takes care of people. So remember this, if you're ever in a car accident, be smart, call Bart. Benton & Benton, local lawyers you can trust.
Hey, this is Doug.
And this is Robbie.
We own and operate Foy Tree Service.
When you need tree cutting, stump grinding, lot clearing, mulching, firewood, and more, call Foy Tree Service.
Serving Morgan County and surrounding area since 1987.
With top quality service and fair prices, we take pride in our work, and we do everything to make sure that you are a happy customer.
That's Foy Tree Service. Call us at 706-342-8733.
That's 706-342-TREE.
Around here, there are four things folks hold close: faith, family, friends, and their Fords. That's what Loganville Ford is built on. We believe in treating people right, working hard, and standing behind every handshake. Because this isn't just where we sell cars, it's where neighbors help neighbors, and relationships matter more than numbers. Loganville Ford, built on faith, driven by family, surrounded by friends, and proud to represent Ford. LoganvilleFord.com.
All right, welcome back, my friends. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. I'm Mitchell Swan, sitting in for who is in today? Oh, Taylor Hawk, right?
Taylor
Well,
Hawkins.
yes, Taylor
He was
Hawkins.
supposed to be, but we're all filling in for Marc McMain.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
our beautiful First Lady is
Oh,
in the
my
house
goodness.
today.
100%.
So always exciting.
Viewership just went up.
Yes, absolutely.
So we were talking about truth, and as we cut, I was rambling about these folks, these people of faith, keeping it to themselves, not being bent, and then they actually took the church underground. And so sometimes, I worry about we might be getting there as a nation. But now, what are some examples of some really big lies that you've seen, Liliana?
Well, I mean, I guess on that everyday lives, the first thing that comes to mind is when somebody has an Instagram profile and their picture looks nothing like them, right?
Right.
When they post pictures of them on a beautiful car and it's not their car. To me, I'm not a social media person, to be honest with you. I don't like posting stuff. And I specifically don't like to post something that is going to make other people believe I am something I'm not. And that's why I don't like posting anything. So I want to be true to myself. What I have, I have. What I don't have, I don't have. Whether it's friends, family, business. And it just really bothers me when I see fakeness stuff on social media.
Do you know who one of the first people that I know of in this country that kind of put on a false persona? Benjamin Franklin. Did you know this?
No.
So his story, we all know that he went on to make his money as a printer. But when he first opened his printing business in Philadelphia, he had left Boston. He has nobody coming in and saying, hey, can you print me some flyers? Nobody. But what he did is instead of sitting in his shop all mopey, waiting for people to come through, he'd load up this wheelbarrow and he'd put paper in it and ink in it, and he'd go up and down the streets and give the impression he is the busiest printer in town.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yep, I read his biography. It's incredible. Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then, of course, he went on to start publishing something like, what was it? Like, I can't, this is James Bond character, Miss Moneypenny, but I can't get that out of my head. But he used pseudonyms. He would use other fake names and publish things to make, to make points to people. Penny saved is a penny earned. That was all wisdom from us, this fake person that he published.
That is so interesting. And, more than like just having a fake profile on Instagram or just kind of making yourself look better. Everybody wants to make themselves look better. It's just the impact that it has on our kids and how then our kids
participation trophies. When you're on Facebook.
And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. That lie keeps getting bigger and bigger, right?
Well, there's no truth to true accomplishments any longer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is very interesting to me. I think that is something that we all have to work on. We all are guilty at one point or another. And just as a society, we need to make a change.
Sure. Yeah. Now, when we were on break, you mentioned something about Enron, and you got my attention.
Yep. So Enron was once considered one of the largest, fastest growing companies in America. And a lot of people were investing on because supposedly, it was super successful, but Enron was lying about it. He hid that and manipulated financial reports.
Sure.
Even his employees invested a lot of money on it because the company looked incredible, but it was really collapsing. So then the truth came out, and Enron collapsed almost overnight, and hundreds of thousands of people lost their jobs and retirement money, and the executives went to prison. So the appearance of success became more important than the actually integrity. And I mean, imagine all the lives that were destroyed because of the greed of that person.
Well, that's a team effort right there. I mean, you can't, he didn't just fabricate all that. I'm trying to just remind myself that, for those that not familiar, back in 2007 it ceased operations, but Enron was selling itself as one of America's largest energy and commodity services in Houston, Texas. And so it was just crushing its stock price. It was going vertical, much like the Magnificent Seven today when we think about, Facebook and Apple and Telsa and all of those semiconductor businesses too. AI, right? So it was all inflated, and to your point, it was fake. But then you've got to have like the CPAs on it because they know what the real earnings were for the quarter,
That's
and you just
right. How
publish
many
your
people
financial
actually,
statement.
are aware
So
of that?
it was
right.
quite a scam, and I'm sure the people thought, well, we're kind of lying about it a little bit, but we think it's going to end well if we can carry this on. I think they might have been sincere that we're going to be a great energy company. We're just not there yet, and that makes me think of all these folks developing artificial intelligence. We are pouring, it's been over $800 billion. We're creeping up on $1 trillion invested trying to develop machines to think for us. They're not making any income yet, but they're like, but man, if we keep pouring money in it one day, these things will be profitable. I don't want them. I think
don't
it's
want
a
them either.
huge lie, too. I don't want to listen to anything a computer spits out at me and goes, hey, you know, Mitch, I think you got a case of the SADS today. Maybe you ought to go do this. I'm like, you ought to just be quiet. I
Yeah.
almost used another word.
I was actually just telling Mark the other day, I'm like, I wish we all just went back to regular flip phones or just, I mean, you don't want to get rid of the cell phone because it's such a convenience to have if you are, say, driving far away and you're alone, whatever it may be. But all that comes with it. I already talked about showing my Instagram. I don't post anything anyway, so who cares, right?
You got an awesome life. I want your Instagram. Put it up. I want to live vicariously.
I don't put anything on it. It's boring. But I'm like, I'm just so sick and tired of all of that is coming now in our lives and that is taken away from Christianity first and foremost, and that is making our life worse, really. It's affecting everyone around us. It's affecting our kids. And I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, 20 years. This is very scary.
Well, do you think there's also, so I'm upset by our inability to criticize things anymore because we're like, well, if you push back on the narrative, you're going to get pummeled. So if I see someone put something up on Facebook, and that was your example, and it's a car, like you said, like, oh, look at me beside this beautiful car. I participate in that lie by giving it a thumbs up. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I should start using the thumbs down button a lot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Well,
calling
because
BS on that.
And that brings me to another thing. How many times good people lie to not hurt somebody else?
Mhm.
Or because, I can see this person on Facebook loves putting a lot about, themselves and how good they're doing, whatever. Let me give them a like. They really want a like, right? I mean, because
Yeah.
if you're putting it out there, it's because you
Yes.
really want
That's right.
that acceptance and recognition of people, right?
Well, we also, at the federal government level, we start to manipulate what measurements we use to use the Consumer Price Index, CPI. What is true inflation? And right now it's at 3.8% as of today. So if you've got money in the bank earning anything less than 3.8%, and we're not getting that on our savings accounts, your money is eroding. And so what they want to do is they want to maybe relook at what they put into the components of the CPI to maybe make inflation look not as high,
Interesting.
So let's maybe, and I'm just making an example to make a point, what if they just took gasoline out of it? That thing's gone up, it's skyrocketing up. But if we just took that out of the matrix, oh, look, you can buy a pair of shoes for the same price you could, so.
Yep. Interesting. Yep. Well, so keeping it light in here. So what is some kind of funny things that you think that people lie about other than the things that we mentioned?
Well, when you're talking about posting on Facebook or, socials, I see that too. And, sometimes I always, I'm kind of a little medium because sometimes when people post things that they're doing for charities or
I love
like,
that.
volunteering, I love seeing stories like that because then that motivates others to go out and do the same thing. So, so it kind of it's
That's
a
good
double a double-edged sword there. So it kind of goes with the good and the bad. So
You mean it because like maybe they do it just so they look good, but not really because of the cause?
right, yeah. And I would think if I were looking at that and I seen that, I wouldn't think, oh, they're posting that to look better.
I don't think
I
so
would
either,
think
but-
that they're posting that to help motivate others
I
to want
agree.
to, do so. sometimes, and texting, I'm the worst about texting. I'll text something and then I'll erase it because I worry, like, it's not going to come across the right way.
Oh, God,
So,
yes.
so I'm constantly worried about, oh, does that sound right? Or did that look right? So there's a lot of I think they do that on purpose to us.
I wish my wife had a little more grace in giving some white lies once in a while. I'm a guy, so I can't even dress myself, and I'll be like, "Hey, how does this outfit look?" She's like, "You're not going out in public with those shoes on."
Good for her.
Not with that. Well, anyways, you're listening to the Marc McMain Show here on WMOQ, and we're sitting here with Liliana McMain, and we'll be right back after this quick message.
Serving Watkinsville and the surrounding area since 2002, it's Outdoor Specialty, featuring a wide variety of plants, trees, shrubs, ground cover, and more. Plus, you'll find a full line of irrigation supplies like sprinkler heads, pipe replacement parts, and more. Add some beauty to your home with a huge selection of pottery, landscape stones, mulch, and more. Step into the garden center and see their great selection of bird feeders, bird houses, Cole's bird seed, and so much more. Don't forget to pick up some of Elsie's apple-flavored deer corn. Stop in and say hello to Elsie, Diane, and the rest of the friendly staff at Outdoor Specialty, 1460 Greensboro Highway in Watkinsville. Open Monday through Saturday. Phone 706-769-8737. That's 706-769-8737. That's OutdoorSpecialtyNursery.com.
You love your land, and you have plans for it. During Kubota Orange Days, you'll love the great deals on our versatile, reliable lineup, helping you turn dream projects into reality. Visit your Kubota dealer today for the best deals of the year. Now through June 30th, 0% financing available, or save up to $5,500 off select compact tractors. Sale ends soon. Stop by your local dealer or go to gokubota.com.
Your local Kubota dealer is Hayes Tractor, located at 545 Highway 11 in Social Circle.
Baby, lock the door and turn the lights.
Josh Turner, This Country Music Thing Tour. November 5th, the Classic Center Theater. On sale now at joshturner.com.
Lake Life is the Lake Area's largest award-winning magazine, reaching over 25,000 readers. Pick up your copy of Lake Life magazine today. Get Lake Life free at over 100 convenient locations in Georgia's Lake Country. And keep in mind, you'll receive your free copy with a subscription to the Lake Oconee News or the Eatonton Messenger. Lake Life. It's all about the lives and events in Georgia's Lake Country. Call 706-485-3501 to subscribe. Lake Life, the biggest, the best, and it's free.
All right, everyone, welcome back. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show. I'm Mitchell Swan, sitting here with Liliana McMain. And Liliana, we're talking about being truthful and honest. What else have you got for us? What's another example?
Yeah, so in this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about tennis and a story about it. So what happens when people decide who you are? So one of the hardest things in life is realizing people can form opinions about you before they even know the truth, right? And once that the public creates, or your friends, they create a narrative, whether it's true or false, it can become almost impossible to change people's minds. So Novak Djokovic is a huge tennis player. He has won, I don't know if he's in the top, but he has won all these tournaments. And he had a huge controversy in the Australian Open back in 2022. So back on the COVID time, right? So he went to Australia to compete at the Australian Open. And that's when all the COVID rules were so strict. We were going right through it, right? So he thought he had all the proper documentation and vaccination rules. He thought he was compliant with it, right? So he arrives there, and then they do an examination or whatever, and then they realize that he didn't have what he was supposed to have, that he didn't have all the proper medical documentation he needed to, and all of that stuff. So the media took that story, and went crazy with it. because some people were blaming him of being dishonest, that he was faking, that he had maybe the shot and he didn't. Other people just believed that he was a target. So it was absolutely crazy. I saw the story, and I love tennis, and it was just unbelievable how people accused him. Eventually, he ended up pulling out of the tournament. I mean, and this is a player, I don't know if you're familiar with tennis, but Novak Djokovic is the top player right now. He has won all these majors. And missing an Australian Open is huge, but because that's another tournament that he can put on his pocket and maybe become, the greatest ever player on the world, right? So he pulled out, and it was really, really sad. So people sometimes react to facts, and they don't really even know, or they react to a story. They react to something they hear or read, but they don't really go and look. Well, let me see. Is this true?
Right.
Somebody's blaming somebody for something, and you immediately assume is correct.
Well, I'm not that familiar with Djokovic as a tennis player. Djokovic.
Uh-huh.
Djokovic. I'm not really that familiar with him. So I don't know. So when you said that, to make your point, I instantly had a sense that, well, yeah, he wasn't vaccinated, that he showed up, that he had taken the swab, so he had proven he is not contagious, and that he had pretty much self-isolated. And I thought that his reason for that, too, was, hey, listen, my body is my profession. I'm a professional athlete. Why would I want to put that in me?
That's
Which
right.
is kind of contrast to going back to Lance Armstrong that you brought up in the beginning. He was accused of doing drugs when he didn't put anything in his body.
Because he did deny, he did not want to take the COVID vaccine. And I absolutely respect him for it. Imagine that. I mean, he decided not to play tennis in this huge tournament because it went against his beliefs.
100% respect that decision, by the way.
100%.
Was it a medical exemption? Or was it like a fake medical, said that he took the shot?
Maybe I'm not sure, but maybe he was like, hey, I was isolated. I have proof that I don't have COVID. I haven't been around anybody. But maybe people just really wanted him to have the COVID vaccine, and he denied it. So maybe I'm saying this wrong, but something like that. But it was incredible that he missed that opportunity to have another major, and
because of what he believed.
Because of what he believed, and I love it. But in today's world, perception can arrive long before truth does.
Oh, I think the pressure on kids today. I remember if you were just kindergarten through 6th grade, you really didn't care what people thought of you. You just did.
You were a kid.
But you hit junior high, oh my gosh, something changed, and you're trying to reshape how people see you. And if you're that nerdy band geek like I was, you're not going to overcome that, you know? And so that carries right on through high school. Yeah. And I think that's why people value college so much. It's a chance just to be authentic again, be yourself.
Be yourself, yeah.
You attract better friends.
I was totally that nerd, too.
Yeah, I'd rather have a genuine
really
friend than insincere people that like me.
Yeah.
So,
well, that brings me to the question, why do you think people choose sides? Because I think most of the time people choose side immediately when they believe the lie, right? But maybe other situations are a lot of times popular people, everybody loves them, and then all of a sudden something comes out and now everybody hates them. Wow. Why is that? I mean, shouldn't we be a little bit more forgiving?
Because nobody's perfect. We're human. We make mistakes, so...
Well, I just feel like we have got so much propaganda hitting us all day long. We don't know what to believe anymore, to be honest.
We don't, but...
And so when, if we fall for a lie, it's very hard for us to let go of our bias and admit that we were wrong.
Yeah.
So...
Yes, and honesty brings peace. So when you're truthful, you don't have to carry the weight of pretending. You can actually breathe.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's people
really.
there's some people now firmly believe in UFOs, and I understand that. You know, I've planted my flag in another area. There's certainly something to them, but I don't think it's what people think. But what do they put all their faith in? Because everyone keeps saying, well, we got these pictures, and this guy told a great story, and all right, have you seen one? Have they rolled one out yet? And with a live camera going, hey, take a look at this thing.
Well, I think, in my opinion, carp, those fish carp, have you ever seen them, those big, ugly fish? They look like aliens to me. They could be an alien.
We've been invaded by a carp. Well, my whole thing is, you know, I'm one of those, I want to see it, feel it, touch it, and then, you know, then have a discussion. But right now,
so you do your research. If you hear a story, say about, say you love tennis and you know Novak Djokovic, do you do a lot of research to really find out the truth, or do you go with the flow?
Well, I'm saying if we're having UFO disclosure, let's open the doors of the hangar, roll it out into the sunshine, and just show us while we're releasing reports and stories and eyewitness testimony. I'm like, you know, I'm done with it.
Yes.
Just roll it out there.
But on behalf of Djokovic,
Novak Djokovic.
I would do more research. I would definitely not just believe what I see instantly. So I think it's worth it to do a little more deep dive in, and you know, because people can be ugly and say things that, you know.
Yep. Now, how about in your lives? Have you ever felt that you have been misunderstood because of something that maybe people said about you?
Well, just like your husband, I ran for office. I heard a lot of very untrue things about me
subject, so we're not going to go
get
there.
shoveled out there, and I'm not going to give them the dignity of repeating lies, because that's all the people will remember.
Yeah, and this show wasn't even about that. And people will understand, I'm sure. But this just keep coming to my heart.
Yes.
To talk about the subject of lies. But
who do you think is more susceptible to this? And I'm going to say, is it women or men? See, I'm going to say I can make the argument, I can argue for men because, like, you know, you're not going to cry, you're not going to show emotion, you know, you're not going to dance in public because everyone will know you're silly if they ever saw you try to move with a rhythm, you know. But I think that men try to safeguard their own masculinity a lot, and there's this profile of what you ought to be like, and you're not going to step out of it. And I think for women, I think the idea of being the perfect, you know, daughter, wife, mother, you know, you're under tremendous pressure. And I think sometimes you feel inclined to be like, oh, when you're at a lunch group or a coffee clutch, and they're like, you know, my kid, as your son did, my son just got into the Naval Academy. Where's your kid going, you know? Well, he's got options. We're looking at some really great schools, and, you know, I'll get back to you.
Behind.
Yeah. They don't want to be left behind.
I hear you. That's true. I guess that, you know, that can happen to everyone, and I understand that. I don't know. I guess if you talked to me when I was 20, I would be completely different, and I would be all about the Instagram and all of that stuff. But I'm way older than that, so that just doesn't faze me anymore.
Do you think women ever lie about their age?
I think they do. I don't, because I'm proud of my age and how I look, to be honest with you.
You look 29, literally.
Not really,
yes,
but
you do.
But I do look a little younger,
But
I think. At least on my mind, I do. So I don't care what people think.
I just don't. If somebody asks me my age and I don't want to say, I just don't say.
Sure.
I just don't think I'm Asian with, like, my mind is not Asian. My body is, but my mind is not. So you kind of stay behind.
Wow, there's a lot of plastic surgeons in Atlanta doing their best to make all of us look younger, right?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know.
Very lucrative
I'm scared
business.
of needles.
You know, and if I relate the lies to tennis, this is really funny. When we play tennis, so I play in several different teams, and I love every part of it. Next week, I actually start my summer leagues. I have 7 leagues that I'm playing in.
Wow, you're going to be busy.
2 pickleball leagues and 5 tennis leagues.
Oh, pickleball?
No, 6. I'm exaggerating, but by mistake. 6. I am so excited about these. So on Thursday is a double match. Play Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon. So I'm so excited. But
now,
anyway,
are you playing for the state title?
We have played one time, but we lost.
Are you telling me the truth or lying?
No, we lost.
I'm so confused
We lost.
now. I'm just kidding.
No, we lost. But no, we play. This is Alta, USTA, CODA, or T2 Tennis Flex Leagues, and these are all leagues that are competition for recreational players.
When you say we, is Mark playing with you?
No, this is me and girls.
Because you're going to probably lose a partner here in about a few more
yeah,
weeks.
No, Mark and I actually do everything together except play tennis. We cannot play tennis together.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
Gotta have
watch
ground
you
rules.
play, but yeah.
Boundaries.
That's the one thing we cannot do together. But when we're playing tennis, you have to make your own calls, right? You don't have somebody else making the calls. And I have to say, I'm true to myself. If I think that ball is out, I'm gonna call it out and I'm gonna stand by it. But if it's questionable, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. But not everybody's like that, and sometimes you see the people that you think the ball is in, it looks in from your side, they call it out, and you're like, okay, you let it go a couple times until you had enough of that.
Hey, John McEnroe, that's the only tennis player I know. If you say it's out and he thinks it's in, he's throwing the racket at you.
I don't do that. I give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the second or third time, I'm gonna say, "Are you sure?"
Right.
And I'm like, because if you're not sure, it's in, right? But it's so interesting how this is for fun. We don't win any money, right? But people want to lie if they're losing, want to lie if they want to just win so bad. Wow. And it's crazy how a simple game of tennis, sometimes it goes crazy. I mean, people get out of control.
And, instead of having fun, of course it is fun, but just making up the stories just kind of takes away from learning from being there and learning from each other together. So.
Yep.
But tennis is a lot of fun, so I applaud you. 7 leagues. Six. And pickleball too, that's tough. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
Good for you.
How it goes.
All right, well, we're going to pick it up with our fourth segment when we return to the Marc McMain Show right after this quick message.
Here's Evan Youngblood for Youngblood Tractor in Madison.
Exmark zero-turn mowers are now at Youngblood Tractor in Madison. Youngblood Tractor is proud to be your local full-service Exmark dealer. Find the beautiful, professional quality cut you've been looking for your yard with an Exmark zero-turn mower. From commercial to residential, Youngblood Tractor has an Exmark mower for you with big discounts for cash and 0% for 84 months financing with approved credit. Youngblood Tractor also carries the innovative Spartan zero-turn mowers. These mowers are built tough and loaded with features to make your next job a breeze. Our factory-trained service department is ready to help. We work on all make and model mowers. Don't forget, Youngblood Tractor has one of the biggest trailer inventories in the state, with a huge selection of gooseneck, dump, equipment, enclosed, and utility trailers. Give us a call at 706-342-2242 or stop by and see us at 1600 Athens Highway in Madison or visit us online at www.youngbloodtractor.com.
Hey, listen, it's that Rick Jackson again.
Too often, criminal illegals commit sick, violent crimes. Do that when I'm governor, and you'll end up deported or departed.
Dang. I know, right?
What do you have, Sugar?
I'll take the meatloaf and Rick Jackson for governor.
He's something, ain't he?
Oh, he's tough.
No tolerance for criminal illegals, no woke ideology.
No more do-nothing career politicians.
The man escaped the projects and built one of Georgia's most successful businesses. Plus, he's big-time pro-Trump.
And he wants to cut our property taxes. Like for real.
Shush, y'all. Here comes the good part.
No more free rides for people who refuse to work. You want to sit on your butt, binge watch Netflix, and scarf down Cheetos? Do it with your own money.
Amen to that.
Conservative Rick Jackson for Georgia.
I just love that Cheetos part.
Paid for by Jackson for Governor, Inc.
All right, welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Marc McMain Show, and we just went to break. Liliana, we were talking about truth and little lies, big lies, be honest with yourself. Did we miss anything before we move on to our next segment?
I don't know. I feel like I'm all over the place, but at the same time, there's so much information on this topic.
Well, you shared a nice Bible verse with me a second ago. Why don't we share that with the audience?
Yeah, well, I did find a few that I absolutely love, but this one is... I love this one. John 8:32. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And I mean, you have it right there. Honestly, even if you say a little lie, you know you feel bad about it,
100%.
right? I mean, most people want to be honest. I believe most people want to be truthful to themselves and to everything. And most people crave the truth.
Well, I think when I was a younger man and my faith wasn't as developed as it might be today, and I'm still a work in progress, I promise all of you. But, you know, it was much easier. And I'm just going to use the word sin. It's not just lying. But as your faith grows, so does your guilt when you do things that are wrong. It's almost proportionate.
100%.
You know, so I know that I had little faith in my 20s because the stuff I did, I had very little guilt. As I get older, it starts to become a weight. And the only way to be set free from that weight is just, you know what, just not going to do that anymore.
That's right.
Right?
I love that because you're absolutely certain. I mean, you're right on it on that point. I feel like when you're younger, you don't have that experience of life. And maybe, like you said, you're not so close to God and you don't really understand. And then as life experience comes by.
I agree.
I've seen, I'm just going to say Bernie Madoff. I know we're going to talk about him in a second.
Yep.
But that, you know why that burns me? Really? I mean, just, he was the first one that really just had a Ponzi scheme and burned people for millions of dollars.
That was so
and
sad.
everyone's like, yeah, what a jerk. And I'm like, you know, 2008, a lot of major banks did the same thing to us with CDOs, and nobody went to jail. And what they did was on a scale that would have made Bernie Madoff blush. So, but anyways, but to remind our listeners, go ahead, remind us about Bernie Madoff.
Tell us about it.
Okay.
You'll be better at it.
No, I really wasn't. I was passing the mic back
I'll let
to
you go with it.
Well, he was actually one of the largest financial schemes in history. He would collect money from folks, and then what he would do is send them fake statements. Hey, got your statement right here. Oh man, my money's growing. That was not a legit statement. That statement itself was complete fantasy. And as I believe, he went on to actually take people for some $40 million. And so, you know, we busted him, and I don't know if they made people whole, but they, you know, they seized his house and seized his goods and all that stuff. And he just became just really the poster boy for the kind of corruption you can find on Wall Street when money's in play.
Yeah.
You know, if he wasn't just so money focused. And, you know, when we think about, have you ever read Ecclesiastes, the book Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament?
Whole book, but
yeah, so it was written by David's son Solomon. So Solomon, the wisest king in the world, wisest man, blessing from God, and he gave us all the Proverbs, and they're just wonderful lessons in life. But then Ecclesiastes is kind of like his sermon or his teaching at the end, where he just goes and tells you, you know, everything in life is like chasing wind. You know, you get up every day and you focus, in this case, money. I just want more, just want more. One, he's going to make the observation for you, obvious, you'll never have enough of it. And even if you think you have enough at your death, who gets to enjoy it? You didn't. You amassed it. Someone else is going to spend that money you spent a lifetime trying to get so you could have that power. And he actually said this. He said, at the end of the day, a child still born into darkness, never having seen sunshine, is still better off than the man who toils under the sun to amass money and dies with no friends. I'm paraphrasing that because I don't have a Bible in front of me, but that's the point.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, in that story of Bernie, you know, at the beginning, he was basically making the lie look like it was real, right? Because he was sending the fake statements, but he was also sending money that he was using for the new people that was giving him money. So he was sending money to some people, right?
Oh, sure. You could close your account if your account was like $500,000. He just took someone for $4 million. He's like, "Here's your money back.
Yeah.
See, this is honest."
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's absolutely insane. And he was a prisoner of that lie, and like you said, he destroyed so many people. That is crazy. And
well, he was right around the same period as Enron, so they both hit at the same time. And you brought up those two examples, and I think they were within months, and certainly not more than a year apart from each other, because I think Bernie was around the 2007 time too, just when Enron ceased to be an entity.
Yeah.
And
Now
so
the-
then you wonder, okay, if these guys that are operating out in the open with statements and things like that and disclosures, Enron's cooking the books but still releasing the books to show their fantasy, you know, I think of just where our own government is with the slop going on with the tax money we send in. I feel like we send more money in today, and it's mostly because of inflation, but we send more money in annually every single year. It's a bigger pile than last year, and we keep getting the worst results. And then we bring someone, one of the smartest men in the world, Elon Musk, come on in, bring your AI, plug into the systems, and just find out where all the spillage is of corruption. And we're like, here it is. And what was done? Nothing. And you wonder how much elected officials and so forth are taking our money. And
oh my goodness.
putting Bernie in jail, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But man, I could line up a bunch of them, I bet, if we did some audits on a book. Did you see that FBI agent? I'm sorry. No, not an FBI agent. Let me correct that right now on air. It was a retired former CIA agent that the FBI raided his house and found $40 million of gold bars
Oh my goodness.
and another $20 million of cash.
Oh my goodness.
My goodness, that was awful.
You're kidding me.
So
Well,
again, money will make us all do kind of
Yes.
stupid things.
Yep, that's true. And but do you think like that Bernie Madoff? Do you think that he started that, you know, with all intentions of lying to people? Do you think he had that evil idea so he would become a millionaire, or started little by little? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think that's how all corruption starts. I think that's what happened with a lot of the PPP money during COVID. You know, hey, I just asked for a little bit of money because I was going through a hard time. And like, is that all you need? What, you'll give me more? Yeah, we'll give you more.
Yeah.
We'll give you up to like $600,000. You only asked for 60. Oh yeah, I could use $600,000. Please send that right over.
Yeah, so the intention is not initially evil. It's just a little bit of like, hey, just help me out a little bit here, and then next thing you know, it snowballs into.
Well,
a
that
huge
goes
one.
back to what I was opening the show with, the decline in culture. Because do you know what the first thing is we do when we do something wrong? We say, well, yeah, I did something wrong, but everyone's doing it.
Justifying yourself.
Why would I not take PPP money if I've got these Somalis getting daycare money by the billions?
Yep. Yeah.
So if I don't get it, someone else will.
No,
that's
true.
or if I tell a lie on social media, well, everyone else is doing that. Why wouldn't, what I'm saying is not as egregious. I didn't say this is my fancy car. I said this is my fancy bike.
Yeah, true.
That seems more reasonable if you saw my budget.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we're saying most lies don't begin with evil intentions. They begin with fear, embarrassment, justifying yourself or whatever, pressure, competition, wanting approval or wanting to win. Right? I mean, so it's not evil necessarily,
Right.
but it becomes evil.
Well, I think people can do the same thing that Bernie Madoff did, but with churches, and a lot of times, if you send in your check today, you're going to get a mighty blessing. Call in now. We got operators standing by to take it, And I also think if we're uncomfortable with what the Bible says, which is the ground foundational truth of God himself and how he wants us to live, and if something in those books make us feel uncomfortable, we're like, let's just take that out. That's not something we're going to preach at my church.
Right.
We got 40,000 Protestant churches in our country. I'm like, well, somebody's not telling the whole truth if you're that unique from the
Yep.
scripture.
Absolutely. Yes.
How are things in your house? We got Mark out in the campaign trail, being completely honest, right? Not. How is that shaping up? You feeling good about it?
I'm feeling great about it, and talking about lies, right? Like sometimes people lie about stuff, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I feel like the truth will always prevail. Mark is an honest man, and he wants to go and do good, and help the community. So I believe that his heart is in the right place, and I believe that if it's meant to be, he's going to go and win that election because God has a plan for it. And if he doesn't, then that means God didn't want him to be there. But Mark, he's amazing. He has made me a better person, to be honest with you. He has helped me grow We have an amazing marriage. We have been married for almost 29 years. And I could not do it without him. All my family's in Mexico. If I didn't have Marc in my life as my husband, there's no way I could be here.
Sure.
I
That
would
is
have
so
given up
sweet.
long time ago.
I
Well, we
love
ne-
that.
we
And
need
it's
a
so
lot-
true. It's very true, too.
We need a lot of great men to get elected in this country. Otherwise, it's much like your Enron example.
Yes.
You can be the most truthworthy, greatest educated businessman to step in there going, hey, I think I can turn this around. But the corruption was so systemic at that point. There's not going to be anyone to turn it around. We need to get we need to get teams of good people. So
Absolutely.
now remind people, is it the June 16th is when we vote?
June 16, yes, is the official day for voting, but I would encourage people
We
to
want
go and do
everyone out there.
early
Yes,
voting.
do it early.
Get out there.
Yes, get out there. Marc McMain is running for State Senate,
Yes.
District 46. I am his wife. We started from scratch in our business. We met in Cancun, Mexico back in 1996. We have two boys, and Marc really wants to dedicate some of his time to help the community and help make this country better. And
Well,
I'm
thank
all
you.
about that.
Thank you for
Yes,
being with us
and
today, Liliana.
we need Marc's honesty in office. So
Thank you, Chastity.
and we are
Chastity,
so excited. And
close us
Liliana,
out.
thank you so much for being here with us today. You always bring warmth and wisdom. And Mitch, it's a joy to share God's word with you, with our WMOQ family. And remember, honesty honors God, integrity protects your heart, and keeping your word builds trust. We love y'all. Stay blessed, stay safe, and stay tuned to Q92.3 WMOQ Real Country.